Hello, my best students. Do you ever feel like your English is pretty good until you get into a real conversation? Maybe you're at a party or on a video call for work, and suddenly your mind goes blank. You search for the right words, the natural words, but all you can find are the formal, stiff phrases from your textbook. You end up sounding, well, a little bit like a robot. Trust me, you are not alone. It's a super common problem for English learners. The truth is, the English from your textbooks just isn't the same English we use in our daily lives. Real spoken English is faster, more relaxed, and full of idioms and expressions that you won't find in a grammar guide. But don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to share over 50 essential phrases that native speakers use constantly to help you make your conversations feel smooth, natural, and confident. These are the phrases that bridge that gap between just knowing English and actually speaking it with confidence. We'll cover everything from the first 5 minutes of any conversation to making plans, sounding professional at work, handling yourself in stores and restaurants, and expressing your true feelings and opinions. My name is Jehon, and as a passionate English teacher, I've helped thousands of students just like you sound more natural and feel way more comfortable in everyday chats. We're not just learning a list today, we're taking your fluency to the next level. This is going to be a deep dive, a full masterclass. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Section 1. The first 5 minutes. Greetings and small talk. All right, let's start with that all-important first impression. You see a friend, a colleague, or a new acquaintance. What do you say? How are you? Is fine. It's totally correct, but it can be a little formal and, honestly, a bit of a conversation killer. It usually gets a simple, "I'm fine, thank you," in response, and then silence. So let's make your greetings more engaging and authentic. Instead of just, "How are you?" try asking, "How's it going?" This is a much more relaxed and friendly way to ask how someone is. It invites a real answer, not just, "I'm fine." Someone might say, "It's going well. I'm getting ready for my vacation." And boom, you've opened the door to a real conversation about their trip. Let's practice the pronunciation. This is a perfect example of connected speech. Native speakers almost never say, "How is it going?" We blend the words together. It sounds more like, "How's it going?" The S from how's links to the I in it. Try it with me, make it one smooth phrase, "How's it going?" A couple of other super common, casual alternatives are "What's up?" or even more casually, "Sup?" "What's up?" is very common among friends. The standard response is, "Not much. What's up with you?" It's often just a way of saying hello. "Sup?" is very informal, so save that one for close friends. Now, if you haven't seen someone in a while, you can use, "What have you been up to?" This is the perfect replacement for, "What did you do?" "What have you been up to?" covers the whole period of time since you last saw them. It basically means, "Tell me the interesting things that have happened in your life since our last conversation." It's friendly, shows you're genuinely interested, and encourages the other person to share more. Again, let's look at the pronunciation. We don't say, "What have you been up to?" It gets reduced to, "What you been up to?" What and you become whatcha. Say it with me. What have you been up to? And a faster version. What you been up to? For that happy, surprised moment when you randomly bump into someone you know, instead of the textbook phrase, it has been a long time, a native speaker will almost always exclaim, long time no see. It's just so warm, enthusiastic, and perfectly natural. It packs all of that surprise and happiness into one short, punchy phrase. Let's say it together with some energy. Long time no see. You can follow it up with, what have you been up to get the conversation rolling. Okay, so how do you respond to these questions? Your answer is just as important. Instead of just good, let's level up. If things are going well, you can say, can't complain. This is a really friendly, positive way to say that everything in your life is generally good. It's got a cheerful, easygoing vibe. Someone asks, how's it going? You smile and say, can't complain. How about you? Another great positive response is, pretty good. It's a small change from good, but that word pretty adds a layer of relaxed, genuine positivity. If you're feeling just okay, or you want to be a bit more humble, a fantastic phrase is not bad, not bad. It's funny because grammatically it sounds neutral, but the way we say it, often with a little nod, means things are actually quite good. And if things are difficult, but you're managing, you can say, hanging in there. This tells the other person that you're facing some challenges, but you are surviving. It's an honest but still positive-ish response that can open the door to a deeper conversation if you want it. For example, how's it going? Ah, hanging in there. Work has been crazy. How about you? Section 2. Making and changing plans. So, you're chatting and things are going well. Now you want to make plans to see them again. Let's look at some phrases to handle this entire process smoothly, from suggesting an idea to confirming or even canceling. To suggest an activity in a casual, low-pressure way, instead of, do you want to? Try, are you up for? Are you up for a coffee later? Or, are you up for seeing a movie this weekend? It sounds much more collaborative and less demanding, kind of like you're asking if they have the energy or interest for it. It feels like a team decision. Repeat after me, with a friendly upward intonation at the end. Are you up for a coffee? Another great alternative is, how about, as in, how about we grab lunch tomorrow? It's soft and very common. When you like a suggestion, a fantastic positive response is, sounds good to me. Or you can shorten it to just, sounds good. This is way more enthusiastic than a simple okay or yes. It shows you actually like the idea. Your friend says, are you up for a hike on Saturday? You say, yeah, sounds good to me. It's simple, but it adds a nice layer of positive energy. For even more enthusiasm, you can say, I'd be down for that, or simply, I'm down. This is casual and shows you're very keen on the idea. Now, what if you're busy and can't say yes? This can feel a little awkward, and you don't want to be rude. This next phrase is your new best friend. Can we take a rain check? This is an incredibly useful and polite way to say no, while also making it clear you want to say yes at a future time. It means, I can't now, but let's please reschedule. For example, I'd love to go for dinner, but I'm swamped tonight. Can we take a rain check? It totally softens the no and keeps the door open. Fun fact, this phrase comes from the 1880s in American baseball. If a game was postponed due to rain, spectators were given a rain check so they could come to a future game for free. So you're literally asking for a ticket to do this activity in the future. If you're not sure about your schedule, instead of a blunt, "I don't know," you can say, "I'll have to check my calendar. Can I get back to you?" This is polite, professional, and shows you're taking the invitation seriously. And what if something unexpected pops up and you have to cancel plans you've already made? This can be very uncomfortable. A polite and honestly slightly vague way to cancel is to say, "Something came up." For example, you can text a friend, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but I don't think I can make it tonight. Something came up." You don't have to give all the details. It's understood that it's an unexpected and unavoidable conflict. Finally, to make sure the plan is happening, you can use a confirmation phrase. The day before or the morning of, you can send a quick text saying, "Are we still on for tonight?" This is a casual, friendly way to confirm without sounding like you don't trust them. It's a standard part of making plans. Section 3. In the workplace, sounding professional and natural. Okay, let's move into the office. Using natural, diplomatic English at work is huge for building good relationships with your colleagues and manager. These phrases will help you sound both professional and approachable. When you are crazy busy, instead of saying, "I'm very busy," you can use a great idiom, "I'm swamped right now," or "I have a lot on my plate." Swamped gives this great mental image of being drowned or overwhelmed with work, which can be very accurate. "I have a lot on my plate" is another awesome visual idiom that just means your schedule is packed with tasks, just like a plate packed with food. So if a colleague asks for help, you could say, "I'd be happy to look at that for you, but I'm a bit swamped right now. Could I get to it this afternoon?" This is much more diplomatic than just saying, "No, I'm busy." If you need help from someone, a polite and collaborative way to ask is, "Could you give me a hand?" This is a really common and friendly way to ask for assistance, usually with a specific task. "Could you give me a hand with this report? I'm not sure I understand this section." It sounds much more like you're working together than just, "Can you help me?" When someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer right away, a great professional phrase is, "Let me get back to you on that." This is so much better than just saying, "I don't know." It shows you're taking their question seriously, that you're responsible, and that you will follow up. It inspires confidence. You can say, "That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure. Let me get back to you on that by the end of the day." Let's practice that one. "Let me get back to you on that." In meetings, agreeing and disagreeing politely is a critical skill. To show you agree, you can say, "I'm on the same page," or "We're on the same page." It's a great way to say, "I agree and I understand your perspective." If you disagree, you want to be soft. Instead of "I disagree," try, "I see your point, but have we considered?" This shows you were listening, but you have a different perspective to offer. To keep a meeting moving, you might need to return to an earlier topic. A very common corporate phrase for this is, "Let's circle back to that." It means, "That's an important point, but it's not the focus right now. Let's make a note and return to it later." And finally, to wrap up a meeting or the workday, a common phrase is, "Let's call it a day." This is just a friendly way to say, "Let's stop working for now." It signals that enough has been accomplished and it's time to rest. Your team has been working hard and you can say, "All right, team, we've made great progress. Let's call it a day." All right. How are we doing? Is this all making sense? We've covered a lot already, and we're not even close to finished. If you're finding this lesson helpful and you're serious about taking your English to the next level, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more deep dive videos like this. And let me know in the comments which of these phrases is your favorite so far or one you're excited to try. It genuinely helps the channel out, and I love reading your comments. Okay, quick water break and let's get back to it. We've got shopping, restaurants, and expressing your feelings still to come. Section 4. Out and about, shopping and errands. Running errands, shopping, or going to a restaurant can lead to some pretty robotic and awkward interactions. Let's fix that with some simple, natural phrases. Let's start with shopping. When a sales assistant approaches you and asks, "Can I help you?" and you just want to look around, the most natural and polite thing to say is, "I'm just browsing, thanks." Browsing just means looking around casually without a specific plan to buy anything right away. It's polite, friendly, and every salesperson will know exactly what you mean. They'll smile and leave you to look in peace. If you are looking for something specific, you can say, "I'm looking for," or, "Excuse me, could you tell me where I can find," for example, "Excuse me, I'm looking for winter coats. Could you tell me where they are?" When you found an item you like, you might need to ask, "Do you have this in a different size, color?" Or, if you can't find it on the rack, "Do you have this in stock?" These are simple, direct questions that are perfectly natural. When you're ready to pay, the most common question is, "Do you take credit cards?" Or you can ask at the register, "Can I pay by card?" Even though most places do, it's still a polite and standard question to ask, especially if you're in a smaller shop or at a market. And what if you need to bring something back to the store? The phrase you need is, "I'd like to return this." It's direct, polite, and totally standard. You can follow it up with a simple reason, like, "I'd like to return this. It's the wrong size," or, "I'd like to return this. It was a gift." Now, let's talk about restaurants. From the moment you walk in, there are phrases that will make your life easier. When you arrive, you can say, "A table for two, please." Or, "Hi, do you have a table for four?" When the waiter comes to your table, they might ask if you want to order drinks first. Then, when you're ready to order your food, you can get their attention with a simple, "Excuse me." A very natural way to order is to say, "I'll have the," or "I'll go with the." For example, "I'll have the chicken salad, please," or "I think I'll go with the pasta." If you're not sure what to order, it's perfectly okay to ask, "What do you recommend?" People love to share their recommendations. When you're finished with your meal and ready to leave, you need to ask for the bill. The phrase is, "Could we have the check, please?" in American English, or "Could we have the bill, please?" in British English. Both are perfectly understood. This is how you signal that you are ready to pay and go. Section 5. Expressing yourself. Feelings and opinions. This last section is all about adding more of you, more personality to your English. These phrases will help you express how you feel and what you think in a more nuanced and natural way, just like a native speaker. If you're feeling a little sick, but not like you're dying, the perfect idiom is, "I'm feeling a bit under the weather." This is a super common phrase native speakers use to say they're feeling unwell, maybe with a cold, or just have low energy. "I think I'll skip the party tonight. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. It's a soft, gentle way to say you're not feeling your best. Now for a happy feeling. When you eat or drink something that is just so good and satisfying, especially when you were hungry or thirsty, you can say, that hits the spot. Imagine you've been working outside on a hot day and you finally chug a cold glass of water. You can sigh and say, ah, that hits the spot. It expresses perfect satisfaction. When you want to give your honest opinion, especially if it might be a little critical or different from what others think, you can soften it by starting with, to be honest, or, if I'm being honest, to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. This signals to the listener that you're about to be very candid, which prepares them for your real opinion and makes it sound less harsh. How do you express strong agreement? If your friend says something you completely agree with, you can say that again, or tell me about it. These phrases mean I agree with you 100% and I have had the same experience. They show strong empathy and connection. What about when you're not sure how you feel? When you can see both the good and bad sides of something, you can say, I have mixed feelings about it, or I'm on the fence. For example, are you excited about the new office layout? I'm on the fence. I like the open space, but I'm worried about the noise. And finally, a simple but incredibly useful phrase. When something is good but not mind-blowing, instead of just saying, it's okay, try, not bad. This is used all the time. How was that new restaurant? Not bad, not bad at all. The funny thing about this phrase is its tone. Depending on your intonation, it can mean anything from it was acceptable to it was actually surprisingly good. It's a classic piece of native speaker understatement. And there you have it, over 50 phrases that will help you go from sounding like a textbook to speaking like a native. Remember, the real trick isn't just to memorize them in a list, it's to actually start using them. The fear of making mistakes is the biggest enemy of fluency. Don't be afraid. Just pick one or two from this list and set a goal to use them in a real conversation this week. We covered a huge range of situations today. We started with greetings and small talk, with phrases like, how's it going? And what have you been up to? We moved on to making and changing plans using are you up for? And the very useful can we take a rain check? We learned how to sound professional and diplomatic at work with idioms like I'm swamped and let's circle back. We navigated shopping and restaurant interactions, and finally, we talked about expressing your true feelings with phrases like I'm under the weather and I'm on the fence. Every single one of these is a small step towards more natural, more confident, more real English. Now, for your homework, I want you to challenge yourself. In the comments section below, tell me which phrase from today's lesson you are going to try to use first and try to write a sentence using it. For example, I'm going to try using I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about whether to travel this summer. I really do love reading your responses and seeing you put the lessons into practice. Thanks so much for watching, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.